Good morning, everybody. I have 3 years of software experience with ForgeRock. I am gonna take ForgeRock training for AM, IDM, and directory services, which are the three components available in ForgeRock. About myself, however, I am having 3 years of software industry experience in ForgeRock cyber security technology, and I have secured ForgeRock AM access management, IDM identity management, and DS directory services core badges from ForgeRock University. It is a major step in my life which I did, which was over the period of 6 to 8 months. It took me to acquire the three badges along with the corporate working. But in a full-time basis, it is like you can get acquire the badges in 3 months. But apart from acquiring the badges, having the hands-on experience in hands-on experience and having the debugging skills is more important, what I feel. And I confidently say that I'm good at configurations, installations, and debugging the issues while migrating the applications when configuring, and while you give it to the end user and you validate it, and again you get the issues and all. That is a major thing in the ForgeRock where people need to learn. And I have worked with the international clients like Bank of Nova Scotia. It is a Canadian bank. It is completely a banking sector and highly secured region where a lot of security, highly security, and single sign-on, passwordless authentication process, highly secured authorization protocols are used here, and I worked on them. And the Prudential client is also a bank of from Singapore. It is also the same thing, like they wanted their application to be migrated from Oracle Identity Management to ForgeRock, and it is a very good experience working with the REST API calls and all. And currently I'm working with Toyota Motors. It is a very big project and a very big platform available where it is embedded with included with AWS cloud services and Azure and the offshore. And what I feel is ForgeRock has the compatibility in working with all the available high-end trending tools and highly secured tools available in the market, and it's gonna um, be the best security tool, as most of the companies are now migrating from many of the prior technologies to ForgeRock, as we see. And it is very good at in cloud services as well. And ForgeRock has the good opportunity to learn, where we have good training sessions available, and we have hands-on experiences, lab sessions also available. Of course, it's a paid thing, but I'm here to teach you all things with good knowledge and hands-on experience and with live examples, and has good exposure to the customizations, localizations, and REST API calls using the Postman and all. And coming to the next slide, it is the scope of the demo. And here it is introduction to identity and access management and its role in the identity world. Identity and access management itself says that access management what it does actually means, it will manage the access to resources like the web page, any application, and a web service which are available over the network. And once it is set up, and once the AM is set up in your local or in any platform where you are working, it provides an infrastructure for managing the users, roles, and the identities and the resources which you have created. There comes a very good introduction to AM, and a very good feel, or what do I say, the centralized access control by handling the authentication and authorization. That's how the AM centralizes. Authentication, what does authentication mean? Authentication is a process of identifying an individual. For example, any individual, wherever you go login, you will be asked to give your identity, like your name or your ID or anything which you have referred, and the password. And that comes once you are successfully logged in, it means that you are successfully authenticated. And the authorization is a process of granting the access to the resources. Like if you are a particular person with so and so role or so and so grant is given to you, and if you are having that access only, then only you will be allowed to access so and so resource. That's how the authorization functions. Like authorization is a process of granting access to resources to authenticated individuals. Like to you give granting, I mean you give access to some resources to the authenticated users. I mean like it's a step up for authentication. And in in ForgeRock we have DS directory services also available, where we use lightweight directory access protocol LDAP directories and relational databases and Redis, where we store all the data, the user's data, everything data will be stored in the directory services. And there will be configurations where you combine, where you link access manager, like the access management, with the directory services DS. And then comes the identity management. It is like a platform where it manages the users, which are all the users data, everything, the roles which we give to the user, and everything will be managed by the IDM part. Most probably we'll be going through ahead with the AM part here. And challenges in managing the identities. The challenges, there are many challenges we face while managing the identities. What I feel is like there will be like the user might be entering the wrong credentials, and he might be thinking that they have entered the correct credentials, and he might be repeatedly entering the credentials and like incorrect passwords or something, and their account gets logged out, and we need to unlock the account, and then the user need to be enabled. This is a simple example which I can say. And regarding there will be many challenges faced, like the environment uh, feasibilities, like the storage, the memory available, and the compatibility issues, and few of the product based ForgeRock will be having some plugins, some ports which are available, some plugins which will be specified, and those like based on those challenges and all, we need to move on with the facilities available with the ForgeRock, and create it accordingly to our requirement in a very much highly secured facilities available with ForgeRock. And roles played by access manager in authentication and authorization, I have already covered it. And regarding the access manager architecture, it's a highly modular and flexible design, which I have told, and there were multiple plug-in points available, and we need to have the Java based. Basic knowledge of Java will be sufficient to learn the ForgeRock. And Java most probably will be using in the directory services part, where we need to write the LD files and pull them using the external API, REST API calls, and leverages industry standard protocols. That is the main reason where ForgeRock stands first. It follows all the standard protocols of the cyber security all over the world. And the very good part is we do see a release every month. Patch releases will be available every month, and deploying the patch release, I say it is not so easy, but it is very much helpful, where you need not decommission the complete environment available in with you, but you can go ahead with the patch deployment, and the ForgeRock. The best part of ForgeRock while learning what I feel is like the documentation and the support which is available from the ForgeRock. Whatever the query you have, any dumb question you have, if you are a subscriber, the ForgeRock is ready to respond you at any point of time with all the details and uh, with a very good explanation and with all the facilities, like with all the details, complete compatible issues and all. Like AM core components, what I feel is like AM core concepts will be the customization part, the protocols, like they use auth protocol, SAML protocol, and web agent protocol, UMA, user management access, and all those things we are the core components of AM, which I will be definitely for covering in the coming up classes and all. And coming to the next slide, course outline. Performing the basic configuration correct. Implementing the default authentication is the basic thing which we do for the start beginners, and protecting a website. Yeah, through web agent we do protect a any web services which are available. There we have one protocol, that is web agent. Through web agent we protect any website which is uh, given to us to protect or something. Like empowering users through self-service. Yes, we do have the self-service option available here in ForgeRock. User self-service management, and implementing intelligent authentication. Yes, extending authentication functionality. Like we have authentication, like here in ForgeRock, the key point which I can say is the trees and the chains available. Like suppose, for example, some companies might be asking for a simple authentication process like a username and a password, but some companies or some users, or even we personally, like I want my identity to be taken first, and once it is correct only I just need my application to be asking for the password. And then only I need to get the MFA, like the any question answers, or if you want any OTP, like or one time password, if you want it to be enabled to your mobile number or to your email ID, that is. And the more sophisticated version will be HOTP. And those are all the extended authentication facilities available here. And retrieving user information, we do retrieve the user information with their identities given to us and all. Increasing authentication security by authorization, like we give them the grants and access to a particular service or a role, and that's how we increase the level of authentication by keeping an authorization as a step in the process of authentication. And controlling access using authorization, yeah, it is definitely when we increase a step of authentication, like when you increase a process, a step in between user getting logged in and accessing the service, when you enable any of the authentication modules available or any tree, then it is actually increasing the authorization process. And extending services using auth2 based protocols, correct. Configuring auth2 server, yeah, we do configure auth2 server and coming soon. And in the next 5 minutes I'll be going to explain how auth2 will be configured. And configuring OIDC, sharing resources with UMA 2.0, implementing social authentication, correct. Social authentication means like we do log in with our Facebook credentials or any of our Google credentials. With those facilities is also available with ForgeRock. It is an inbuilt facility available with ForgeRock, and we need to know how to enable a social authentication for a particular application. And preparing for production, customized AM end user pages, correct. This is the like step up or the core feature available with IAM. I feel like you can, there are already the facilities available with the ForgeRock, but if you want to customize it according to the user requirement, yes, it is feasible to customize. Hardening AM security, yeah, you can definitely harden the AM security with increasing passwordless and token method authentication, which is the facility available. Like it is a global facility. Also, you can make it either a global facility or in a local facility for a particular application. And one more feature with ForgeRock is available. Suppose if there is one company, but it has many subdivisions in it, and you want to maintain each record separately and the main authentication and authorization process separately for each. Yes, there is a feature of realms called, in simple words, we can say it as a folder to be understanding. Each realm, under each realm, you can completely keep one sector or a single complete one application. I mean, if you have 10 applications in one organization, each realm can be going through with a one application, and it would be easy for us to provide the access and grant access to them, and it would be easy to manage also. There comes the realms concept, and administering an AM solution, installing and upgrading. Yeah, installing and upgrading of AM is also a good feature, and it is a major thing we need to learn. And clustering the AM, that is what clustering the AM means, the realms part which I just told. And federating across entities is a SAML which is available. Implementing the single sign-on, and we do take the customer's service provider data. Here in SAML we have identity provider and the service provider, and we do federate them with a circle of trust. We in, create a trust between the two entities, like the identity provider one entity and the service provider the other entity. And the circle of trust is where both the entities get registered, and a trust is created between the two entities, and their data gets exchanged. I mean, data completely won't, and the complete data won't be getting exchanged, but the identities get authenticated each other. And suppose the good example for it will be the Paytm which we are using. Get like in Paytm, the bank owner gets registered, and the what we say, the suppose the Flipkart also gets registered, and the Paytm itself is a uh, create is a platform where it is creating the circle of trust. And once you get registered with a Paytm, it you will be asked for the authentication against the banking once you want to transfer, but it won't ask you complete details. Like it will be taking you the whether the like the OTP, it will be taking you the authorization, and once you grant the authorization, the money gets transferred from your bank to the Flipkart person. That's how it works, the SAML. And add-on topics like default authentication in AM, intelligent authentication, that is covered extending entitlements, implementing social authentication. Social authentication, it is a default facility available with ForgeRock, and we need to move how to configure it. I can show it in the uh, I mean, like local setup once it is all done, like in the later upcoming sessions and all. And what do I say here? Add-on topics will be the services. We have the sessions, the services, and many facilities available with ForgeRock, like uh, identity stores, scripts, secret stores, services, sessions, and many applications. Like suppose if an organization is having some 100 applications, and they want to get their applications to be highly secured, and each one want to be following a different type of method. Suppose out of 100, 20 needs to follow some SAML based authentication process, and some 20 auth based, and the rest with some web agent process. That would be very fine with the ForgeRock. Like you can cluster them accordingly, with whatever the protocol you wanted to manage on, and it is a very good platform to continue, what I can say. And what was additional courses? Yeah, I can tell you the um, like overview of the how the auth based applications will be configured in ForgeRock. I currently I cannot show you the screen, like but later on, once the classes are going on, I will be show you the installation from the start, from the scratch. And here, once you log into the AM console, you will be finding the dashboard thing. Once in the dashboard, you will be finding the realms which you have configured. Suppose I have configured a test realm. I get into, if I double click, I'll get into the realms, and whatever the realm I have created. Suppose I create the test realm. Later on, from test realm, I have to go to here in my view. In any of the ForgeRock screen, we see dashboard, applications, authentication, authorization, identities, identity stores, scripts, secret stores, services, sessions, and STS. And in applications part, you will be seeing three things like agent, what type of application you want to configure. It is very user friendly and easily understandable. The page itself is very understandable when we compare to the old versions of ForgeRock, and currently, I mean, post 5 version, all are very user friendly. It is easily understandable. We see agents, federation, and auth. If you want to create an auth application, like auth, what is auth and how it is gonna be? Like suppose if auth is an open identity connect process which we follow. The definitions part I will be taking later on, but the configuration, let me explain the configuration first. Yeah, here once you click the auth, you have like clients and groups. You want to create either if you want to make a group of applications and auth provider, yes, it is available. If you want a single client to make to provide the auth process protocol, then you can click on clients, add client, and then it will be asking you for client ID. Client ID will be the application name which you want to uh, integrate or which you want to configure. Client secret will be the password which we have to keep, and this password will we need to remember, or we need to, if you are doing it for some any application team, you need to share it with the application team, because they need to configure it for their end also. And it will be asking you for the redirection URLs, like where the application should land once it is logged in, what is the URL should to be configured for application, and where it should land post configuration. And the scope, like in the scope you should be giving like what are the details you want. Like if suppose if a user has a username, I mean, like if the user want to log in with a username or an country code, or with some any of the entity ID or some anything, like the scope, whatever the scope you want to give, you can and one you can mention all those in the scope. And the very good feature available here in ForgeRock is you need not mention all the scopes, like the user ID, password, first name, last name, profile, everything. In here in the scope, you can directly go and configure it in a single script. Suppose if we take generally, in a general term, everybody will be for a profile, what you will have: first name, last name, middle name, mobile number, email, and some address kind of thing. It is difficult to configure for each and every application, and it won't go it look good, right? So it is a feature available here in ForgeRock. Like in the scripts, you can write a JavaScript. These JavaScripts are actually like groovy scripts, and you can take the script, any of the script, and any of the JavaScript, you can take it from GitHub. and you have to modify it according to your requirement. And you can in the scripts feature available in ForgeRock, add a new script, take it from GitHub, modify it accordingly, and once you enable it as a OIDC provider, that script will be available for all the applications, and whatever the changes for any other applications, if you want to mention also, you can mention it in the scripts, and you can directly call it at the applications like the auth provider where you are actually configuring the client, the auth client. And then it will be asking for the default scope, like it will be the read write like the scope, whatever the features you want to enable for end user, or for this particular application. Like if you want to enable the read um, option or the write option, you can mention it there. And post that, what you will be seeing is once you create it, there it will be an option to create, and post that you will be seeing the tabs like core, advanced, open identity connect, signing and encryption, and UMA. And in core field you will be seeing a group, and like I have mentioned, like if you want to assign this complete application to a single group, like if you want to make it into a cluster, and if you want to add this application also to particular cluster, yes, you can mention the group name there. And the status of the application, like if you want to deactivate a particular application in a cluster, yes, this is available here in the status. You can mention it as active. If you want it to be active, you can make it active, otherwise it can be inactive. Like the client secret, it will be pre-populated because you have already given it. I mean, like it will be in a hashed form. And client type, like if you want, so most of the banking applications will be choosing the confidential because they don't want it to be uh, enabled for all the users. For only the particular authorized users, so we can make it confidential. And for public, for all the users, general local users, will be making it into public. The redirection URLs, the scope, default scope, these all will be pre-populated because you have given them before. And the authorization code lifetime, it will be asking you for the authorization code when you have given the any of the authorization grants. Like there should be some time limit, right? If you have given the OTP, what is the time limit of the OTP? It will, I mean, like after you enter the OTP, how much time a session is valid. Like if you mention it as 0, it would be like if you mention it as 0, it would be like no limit for the session will be lasting until and unless you close the session. Otherwise, if you give 1 to, I mean, the number of seconds, like some 120 seconds, or if you want some 9,000 or 10,000 seconds, you can mention it. That is a feature. Like you can configure in the manner, like you can also what do I say, in a simple way, you can mention the time limit of a session to be handled. And in advanced tab, you have the additional features like the response types, what type of responses you want, ID token or code or device code, or what type of responses you want. And the grant types, like some applications, they'll be requiring that they don't want their application session to be, they want their application to be secured with some limited time, but the application session should get refresh after a particular time limit which they have configured. So we have the option to uh, it is level one more secured layer, I can say. Like in the grants only, after authorization, it will be refreshing the code, and it won't ask you for logging again. It will refresh the code and it will be moving forward. Yeah, that's how we have many facilities available here in this. And then you can also enable the particular type of authentication, like what type of tray you wanted to, what are the roles you wanted to mention, uh, and what are the users you want to enable, and all the claims in the scripts, whatever the scripts we have given here, there we can call it here. We have the feature to call them. As moving forward, what I can say, The federation part is the sample thing which I have just given the overview, and the web agent part is one where you will be protecting a complete web a page or web server. I mean to say web resource, something kind of. In this web resource also, you will be having many details. Like everywhere, it will be having the basic client details. And one more thing is that whenever you go for any application team and ask them for the details, you should be aware of what details to ask them. Like for first, you should be confident what type of application they want, what type of protocol they want it. Like suppose if they want auth based application, like if they want their application to be auth provided, then you should be pretty much clear what details to ask them. Like you should be asking them for the client ID and the redirection URLs. You should be asking them, and you should be asking them for the authentication method they want, and if they want any roles or something kind of, like what type of authorization. Like if they want uh, uh, like only few users should be having some particular roles and few users shouldn't be, and so you should be aware of all the details of this. And in web agent part, it will be like you should be installing once the web agent application is configured in ForgeRock, and you should be installing this in the middleware, like the Apache servers, any of the web servers, Apache servers, where the application team also should will be able to configure from the servers available on cloud. And going forward, um, yeah, identities are the users. In the simple words, I can say it's as the users. You will see the user details here, and identity and the secret stores, it will store all the key stores. It is nothing but the key stores, like the keys of the DS, the default key stores. Everything, all the key configurations will be available here. Yeah, in sessions we'll find the session details, what are the sessions available now. And in services, what are the services we have, like the URL service or the auto provider, policy configuration, validation, or many services which you have. We will be seeing it in the services part. And coming to DS, yeah, this is a complete gist of AM. I have just given a overview of what it is and how it looks. And coming to directory services, in directory services we have the LDAP, and the directory services, whatever the files we do make it in the form of LD files. The basic requirement for this will be okay, brief idea of IDM and DS installations and configurations. Okay, IDM installation and DS installations are pretty much easy, and what you need is 10 GB free memory available on your local, and a Java JDK kit available installed pre-installed in your system, and the Postman and REST API calls. Postman is the thing where you hit the REST API calls, and you can validate the application which you have configured through Postman, and you can see the end user results actually if you are really having the authentication, and I mean like the valid credentials. You can see how the application works and how it goes on. Yeah, projects, basic configuration. Yeah, these are things I have configured till now. While you are preparing for production, you should be pretty much cautious, pretty much sure that you have very good amount of memory in your local or in the place wherever you are deploying it. And one more thing you should be cautious is never override anything, never override or never backspace and or anything. Go it in a flow. Uh, Keep all the configuration details ready. So just now I told, right, for auth applications you should have the redirection details, and for other applications, for web agent, you should be having the resources details, And for SAML applications, you should be having the service provider metadata or the identity provider metadata, and all these details you should be pretty much clear while going to production. Yeah, what you need to have is Java and Apache or Eclipse. To Apache, I tell that it is useful for viewing the LDAP files or configuring. I mean, if you want to write any of the LD file and import it and check if it is uh, really getting, I mean, whatever the details, whatever the DS you want to check, the like it is the uh, front view of DS, I can say, like it is the view of DS which you can see here, and the 64-bit process PC and the 10 GB free memory. And after completion of the course, we'll conduct the, I mean, we do have the mock interviews to participate and to evaluate yourselves. I'm pretty much sure that I can give you a hands-on experience by helping you to get it installed in your local and work on with all the features available with ForgeRock. Many of the to my extent, whatever the what do I say? Apart from the subscription part, whatever the uh, what do I say? The privileges available, I can give you and move ahead with good knowledge. I share that I can give you the good knowledge with a local setup and hands-on experience available and good documentation part and with good notes which I can give through. And yeah, certifications what you get from ForgeRock is the ForgeRock Access Management Specialist, ForgeRock Accredited Access Management Consultant, and ForgeRock Access Management Mentor. And apart from these are the high-end certifications available with ForgeRock. But before that, for the beginners, we have the basic ForgeRock AM, IDM, and DS, and the core parts. Those two facilities, those two certifications can be cleared, I think, with the knowledge which I can share over the sessions available future. Yeah, for post this, you will be getting the MindMajix certificate of achievement, uh, where it is a valid certificate and it is a verified certificate. Okay, for any details you can contact the MindMajix team, and any of the course related queries you can inform the MindMajix team, and I'm ready to share them anytime.